Hey, what's up guys? My name is Boda and welcome back to the Mining Stacker YouTube channel. Today's video is going to be our ASIC monthly pricing update video. This is going to be for December 2023, so this is going to be the last one of the year. Going to talk about the price trends, what's going on with the prices, and kind of some of the lowest prices on some of the more popular miners, right? Just give you that quick heads up. Does look like the low for ASICs is probably behind us, but we're going to talk about it. We'll talk about what's going on and what's causing them, all right? So if that sounds good, guys, stay tuned and let's get to it. So the overall market's feeling bullish, right? We are getting closer and closer to the possibility of that ETF coming to fruition for Bitcoin, that is. It's looking pretty good, right? All indications are pointing to January 10th as the deadline, so sometime possibly during that week, potentially sooner, but I kind of doubt it just because of the holidays. But that week leading up to it, expect a lot of bullish action, right? We've been pretty much been up only for about 2 months now, just with all this hype, right? We'll see what happens afterwards, though. We'll see how the market reacts. The expectation is that as soon as it gets announced, we're going to go through the roof, but we have to see what happens beyond that, right? Is this going to be like a buy the rumor, sell the news kind of deal? Is it going to be a huge catalyst? Are we going to be up only? Or are we going to go up to a certain point and then just stay sideways? It's up for you to decide. The only thing we do know, though, is that it is very, very likely that the lows of a lot of these ASICs is already behind us. Okay, because even at this point, there's so much hype, so many factors coming into the year, that even if we do have a retracement, unless it's something significant where we have a crazy black swan, and we somehow make it into the 20s with BTC, I just do not see too many price reductions, right? Unless it's models that they're trying to get rid of because the newer models coming out, something of that sort. But any of these popular models, it's really hard to say, and it's going to be sooner than later, guys, when we get to that point where it's just, you're still going to be able to buy these things, but not at reasonable prices, right? We're going to get closer to those crazy bull market prices probably sooner than we expect, right? Just because of how early a lot of this hype is happening, right? So like BTC, for example, is at 44K. A lot of these alts are like ripping, I don't want to say prematurely, but it is very early in this cycle for them to be at these like price levels, unless you're anticipating that we're going to go significantly higher, which it does seem like that may be the case, right? I have my certain price predictions based off of certain things. And it's hard to really say where the market's going, right? Like, are we, I don't know. In reality, I'm super confused by it. I'll do my goals video update. I'll talk more on that. But BTC is up. I mean, some of these prices are crazy. Like freaking Sol is now number 5, $82, guys. It's insane. But let's get into these ASIC prices. So overall profitability, pretty similar to last month, right? The expectation always going to be these kaspa ASICs on top. Ultimately, they have gone down quite a bit, and it's just because, you know, the two forces, right? The emissions reduction, the hash rate, and it's going to continue to go up, and it's going to affect the yield, obviously, and it's just going to continue to happen, right? So if you're interested in any of these, again, the biggest thing I harp on is don't focus on the fiat profitability. Focus on your yield, right? Focus on what your overall yield is going to be. And if that makes sense, and then base it off of your timeline, right? Your bull market predictions, or if this is going to be a short-term thing for you, or you can try to maximize 6 months and then flip it. Factor those things in, but base it off of the kaspa, not the fiat value. Again, anything can happen. We can have a crazy retracement and it goes down 50% as far as the profitability in fiat terms goes, but focus on that yield, right? That yield is what you definitely need to focus on, and that should be your primary thing. As we go down the list, a lot of things are very similar to last month. The big glaring difference, though, are these BTC miners, right? The transaction fees have been through the roof. Between BRC20, ordinals, inscriptions, has just been insane, right? To the point where even like the S19K Pro, $7 a day for the 120 terahash model, right? In factory form. Again, if you get one of these, highly recommend for you to get whatever kind of overclocking, underclocking firmware, whether it's the Epic boards, which would be my favorite just because there's no dev fee. Shout out to Altair Tech. But however you want to do it, whether it's Brains, Hive, whatever, just keep in mind you're going to want to mess with it just to better the settings, whether it's overclocking, underclocking, more efficiency, whatever it is. But even in stock factory form, $7.39 a day. Extremely good. Shout out to any of you guys who picked those up when we were talking about them in the beginning, back when they were like 1,400-1,500 bucks, right? So pretty good stuff there. So looking really good for BTC miners, especially if these fees were to stay beyond the halving. That would be insanely bullish, right? It's because that's the big concern right now. It's like, oh, what's going to happen to profitability when the halving happens, and you're going to want efficiency is going to be king. And yes, all that stuff is still going to remain true, but it would be nice if they were able to remain break even at like a residential rate, right? A lot of these farms, they're going to figure it out. They're going to have to make do. But for a lot of us retail residential guys, it's definitely going to be a huge efficiency thing, and it's going to be tight, right? The hope is that maybe this can stay at least high enough so we can potentially be break even, right? If we are break even or better, it's going to be amazing, right? So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with the price action. Maybe with all the hype, maybe the ETF came through and we just continue this momentum. Maybe just even with the price action, we'll be able to be there. But between the possibility of the price action and hopefully its transaction fees, if it's break even or better, amazing, right? So we'll see how all that stuff pans out. But for the most part, everything else is the same with a few or one glaring difference, right? We've been talking about with the D9, with DIAC and BlockX and such. We're having a similar situation now with the Scrypt ASICs. We're going to highlight the L7 just because right now current profitability is insane, right? So if we go on what to mine, it's not going to be reflected on mine the ASIC, but if you go on what to mine, you can definitely see it here. It's currently about 27 bucks a day for the 9500 mega hash, and it's because of Bell, right? That we're not saying new meme coin. It's a meme coin that's been around, but it's making the rounds yet again. Not yet again. I mean, in reality, the thing was dead and forgotten. People just resurrected this thing. But regardless, it's making it extremely profitable. People are going on nice hash, renting the rigs out in order to accrue this coin, and it's driving the prices through the roof, right? Very similar situation to what we saw with the D9 when BlockX first came out, right? For any of you guys who had that thing, this was freaking crazy. In the beginning, it did gradually die down, but it's still doing fairly well, right? So that would definitely be the hope here with the L7, because like, for example, if we go down to the D9, it's definitely died down a bit, but it's still doing very well, right? BlockX profitability is 1145, Dash is 1185, and then DIAC, the third one that came out, is now 1487, right? So it's definitely lower, but that's still extremely good, right? So there's a lot of benefits. Number one, if you want to mine that new altcoin, you can go mine that altcoin, and even if you have no interest in the altcoin, like, screw that, I'm getting my L7 for Doge or LTC, whatever it is. Well, because people are jumping off, what's going to happen? The difficulty is going to go down, so your yield is going to go up, right? So it also benefits you there. So hopefully it is something that sustains. Again, may only be a few days. I wouldn't go out and pay significantly higher just because of that, but I mean, kind of said that initially with BlockX. BlockX is remaining, right? The difference here, though, is that there was a lot more incentive with BlockX because people were doing it to get those master nodes, right? So initially came out, it was only like TXBit at the time, I believe, was the one who had it. RIP to them. But because of the master node, people were trying to get as many of these coins in order to have enough to get that master node, right? So that was a huge catalyst, and that's what's still keeping it going, right? People are still trying to accrue in that manner for those master nodes, right? Is that going to be the same case with Bell? Maybe, maybe not. I wouldn't be as confident, only because, again, it's more of like a meme coin. That's kind of more the realm it's going to fall off. But keep in mind that what's going to happen, right? And just like we had said with that D9, is that this is going to continue to happen. We're going to continue to see this on other algorithms. Scrypt is one of the better ones, though, just because there is so much hardware sitting on the sidelines, right? That would be an extremely good candidate for any other coins to come out in that manner, right? A lot of people with hanging on to their L3s, a lot of the mini doges and all that stuff, right? It's a lot of hardware that can be put to use, right? Be able to resurrect it early before the bull run, right? So hopefully it's a trend that continues to happen. That way it just increases profitability for everybody. Who knows what other machines, but those would be good candidates. We'll see. But because of this, though, don't be surprised if the L7 starts jumping up in price, which certain vendors it has already, right? I was looking on Nhash today, actually, and they did increased theirs. I think they have theirs at like 5K now, and it's specifically because of this thing. Okay, so just keep in mind, if you see a sudden jump or I don't know where everything sells out, that's going to be the reason why, right? So just be careful. If you're thinking about it, it's going to be a little rough, right? So at least initially, because that's what happened with the D9 also. It went from like looking like it was going to go under 3K, right? We've been tracking the prices, and it didn't, because once BlockX came out, then it went up. Went up to 4K, 5K, 6K. Went back down. It's kind of been going up and down. Ultimately now, we'll cover the price here in a second, but for example, Nhash did increase their price. So for the 9500, it's 53.88. The smaller guys, 5079. And this is actually one of the deals. That's why I am talking about it. Pretty much one of the few deals that's on BT miners. Now, don't be surprised though if the price goes up. So they did put this up a few days ago. It is going to start in about 3 days. They're going to have the L7. If you get the lowest end model, the 8300 mega hash, you get that, and you're able to get another little box miner for free. I would, out of the choices, I would definitely get one of these iPolos. If you value the iPolo at $300, that's like getting it at $3,900, right? Which it's pretty good. It's not necessarily something that's on my radar. If you guys follow, it's just because of the fact that it's been out so long. It looks like we're going to get replacement potentially not anytime soon though, right? My personal guess was that it would have been announced already by now. The fact that it hasn't, I think most likely they're waiting closer to the release of the Hashblade, that Locotech little miner. We'll see, right? Reason being is that the longer they wait, the more they're going to get out of it, right? There's really no incentive for them to release it now, considering there's no competition, right? It's currently the best. This Bells thing is going to increase hype. They're probably going to be able to fully sell out of this run before they eventually start theirs, which it may not come for a while, may not be till spring, may not be till summer. Again, the farther out they wait, the more they're going to be able to get for this thing, right? Especially as hype builds up. But if they know that the Hashblade is not going to come out until the second half of the year, more than likely that's going to be their target, right? They're going to be very curious to see if they can come out with it, if they can do whatever. The biggest play here would be, because realistically, I don't think the L9 is going to be able to touch that Locotech in terms of efficiency, right? It's going to be an upgrade over the L7. Will it be massive or something like 5 times the efficiency? Probably not. Double the efficiency? Potentially, right? But I mean, the play realistically would be, if you haven't already gotten one, potentially getting one, and then kind of like amping up your efficiency with those Locotechs. Right? Just buying like 2 or 3 of them, you're able to increase your hash and increase your efficiency if you're kind of combining it all together, right? So it's different strategies, different things to think about, because factor in that if they do wait until the spring or summer to release the potential L9, how much that thing is going to cost. It's not going to be no $3,900, right? Especially if the hype cycle is already beginning. Expect 8, 9, 10, 12 plus, right? We all remember the L7 when it came out in the peak of things where it was selling out at $25,000, $27,000, right? So just definitely got to factor these things in. The L7, of course, has been one of the most sought after. Doge is extremely, extremely popular in the mining community, and just as a meme coin, it is going to be most likely remain as the best meme coin, period, right? Elon is keeping that thing afloat. So just something to think about, right? The only other standout out of these deals would be like the Z15 Pro, right? 2,600. And again, if you value this thing at 300, it brings it down to 2,400, which is about where it should be, right? They recently did a restock at like 3K after coupon price about 2,300. So it's in line with where it should be. Let's go through it. As far as the kaspa miners go, where I personally bought mine at was from Nhash. No issues there. Got mine in time where it should have been. Easy transaction. No real issues. They do still have some of the better prices for the ones they have in stock, right? So Ice River, they haven't put it on their site yet, but there is a batch of KS1s and KS2s for this month. And actually it looks like they have them now already ready to go. Like for example, if you click on the KS2, they did change it to being in stock now, not December 15th or 30th, right? So this thing is shipping now. It's up to you on whether you think it's worth it. That would be a whole different video if we discuss that, but just as far as pricing goes, it is one of the better prices, period, out of all the vendors, right? So I don't have any kind of affiliate link or anything with them. It's just I did personally buy through them, through my Anon account, had no issues, and it is one of the better priced actual storefronts, right? If you go through these, you know, through T-Swift or these personal guys, chances are you're going to get better prices. But out of the bigger stores, they are typically some of the more competitive. Just depending on the miner itself, right? This is why it's good to price shop. Okay, so if you're interested, I have purchased through them. I do have an affiliate through BT Miners, and I do have an affiliate through Altair Tech, right? And I recommend those personally just because I have purchased through them. Not like I get free stuff or anything from them. All the vendors I talk about specifically, which is really just those three, are vendors that I have purchased from personally and have had good experience with personally. Not as a sponsorship thing or getting a discount. Again, when I do my little criteria, it's through an Anon account, so it's just like anybody else, and it's just been successful, right? So Nhash is crypto only, though. The advantage with like BT miners is that they're one of the few who take credit card, right? If that's a thing for you, which was a pretty good criteria for me. But if the savings is good enough, you can go with one of these others, right? So because typically most of the others will be crypto, right? But as far as the kaspa miners go, it's up to you. But these guys do have some of the better prices, and again, you really do have to shop around, right? So for example, if you go on like Miner Bros, their KS2, which they have now, it's $4,400, right? Which is $1,000 is $1,000, right? So it adds up. Definitely something to consider. This December batch of the kaspa miners definitely not as popular, right? Because of that kaspa retracement, which is just kind of funny that you guys were so willing to pay freaking $5,000 for that thing just a few weeks ago. Yet they're staying stagnant at this price. It's pretty funny, but you do you. Let's go to the next thing. So it's kind of one that's getting listed more now, the T21, right? Which is like the B grade S21. So they are starting to list prices, right? Like Miner Bros has it, BT Miners has it on their site. To me, it's just the price is too close to the S21 currently. I would rather just go with S21, right? Just because the name recognition is going to be there. Again, the T is usually a crappier model. It'll still probably do as well. Slightly less efficient. But just because the price is so close, unless you're able to get a good price on it, right? If you get a good price or a guaranteed earlier shipment, right? Like a January, February batch, that is a very competitive price. Would be worth looking at. But currently, in comparison to the others, the name recognition, the resale value, most likely quality is going to be with the S21, right? Just keep in mind that you may have to do some weird things just picture-wise for the T21 and S21. It looks like it is going to have these different ports for the power supply, right? So keep that in mind. I know they just started selling like a power strip, a freaking PDU. I think I just had it up on one of these actually. So I don't know if this is going to be a requirement for these things or if it's going to come with cables. So I'm not sure what the deal is there. I would assume it's going to come with cables. We should start seeing reviews of these things here pretty soon. I know one of the companies, I forget, they've been teasing a review for the longest. I'm sure Bitmain's telling them not to release it until later, but keep in mind, you may have to have a different cable. I don't know if it's going to come with the adapters. I'm sure if you email some of these guys, they will know, because again, they're supposed to start shipping here in a few weeks, right? So keep that in mind. As far as the S19K Pro goes, the best price is still through Altair Tech. It's fairly close, right? Realistically, I think Nhash is a little bit lower, but keep in mind the price is this, but you have to add $200 for shipping, and you got to take time. Altair Tech actually has these in stock right now, right? So $20.79 for the 115 terahash model. Again, they do sell those Epic boards. If you're interested there, I do have an affiliate with them. It'll be in the description. But they do have one of the better prices here. Shout out to any of you guys who purchased when we first talked about these things, back before everybody else did, when they were like $1,400-$1,500. They have gone up quite a bit. And although it is higher, it doesn't mean like, oh man, I missed out, it's too high. Keep in mind where the price is going to be 12 months from now, right? That's where you have to really find your value, okay? Realistically, especially BTC miners, I don't really see them going back unless we have a significant retracement and the halving does get rough, maybe during that period. But again, it's a lot of risk to maybe save a couple $100, right? Which, again, the goal with these should have been to get them from the get-go to mine as much pre-halving, okay? So just things to consider, things to think about. The Jazz miners, I was hoping these things would dip, but nope. Nope. Right, so currently best price is through Jingle Mining, 28.39. A lot of the other vendors, even Nhash, all those, they're at right under 3K. They're at 29.99. Oddly enough, they're still not listing the other variants, right? Some of the other vendors do have some of the other ones. I know some of the like Telegram, WhatsApp vendors, they do have listings for like a 1850, a 1750, and a 1650. But realistically, this is just the better model anyway. 28.39, but this is not shipping until January, right? So this is a pre-order, and that's probably why it's a little bit cheaper, right? So not looking good if you're looking for discounts on these things. Ideally, I was hoping for like a 2K just so we're so bare, but it's not going to happen, right? We look like we were going to be close, but nothing there. The D9 is still high up there, right? It's 5,200 on Miner Bros. The best price for that guy is actually on Cool Dragon. Never purchased through them personally, but I know they do have a thing with Red Panda and Rabbit, so they should be legit, and they have it at 4160, right? Which is actually the lowest price by quite a bit. Most of the other places, I think even BT Miners has at a 4800, so pretty good discount. There is potential that it goes lower, right? Bitmain actually just did a restock a few days ago, and it did not sell out, right? So this is where the price should be. They restocked it at 5,000, but after coupon price, this is typically where the retail price typically tends to be at. Sometimes like 10 to 20% above, so like 3,500 to 4,000. So Cool Dragon is definitely closer there. So chances are some of these other stores will eventually lower their price, but a lot of it just has to do with the profitability, right? The reason it had spiked so much was because of the BlockX and such increased the profitability so much. It's kind of chilling out right now, but to me, it's even more appealing because BlockX, it's been around a little bit, things are happening, and it's kind of keeping more bullish that it's gonna be here. That it's not like a rug pull, that it's not a short-term thing. It's gonna be here, people are gonna continue to mine it. It's a very small market cap coin, so it's one that people would be interested even on like the degen end just to be able to accrue it. Maybe accrue enough for a masternode, because again, the rewards for that thing are pretty good. So out of all of them, the one I have my eye on would be the D9. Is it worth waiting for to save a couple $100? Who knows? But realistically, I'm kind of, because it was out of the D9 or the KS3M, or waiting for like another new one to come out. Who knows? I'm kind of like maxed out. We just had a warm day, was it like a few weeks ago, and that kind of gave me a good reminder that you're pretty much on the max of what you can do in that garage, right? So at least for ASICs. For GPUs, I'm confident I could add quite a few more rigs there, but for ASICs, for ventilation, kind of almost maxed out as what I can do there with the current setup, right? So still on my radar if we have a dip, but most likely ASICs I'm good, with the exception of if we get a new one. That's kind of what I'm waiting for. If there's anything on Lithium, Radiant, more so Lithium, right? Out of the newer coins that's most likely going to get an ASIC here within the next few months, it would be Lithium. Hint, hint. Ice River, hint, hint. Somebody else. Who knows? We'll see what happens there. But definitely keeping my eyes open. We're going to watch these prices and see if any of these dip, especially the less popular ones, right? Like one I wouldn't be surprised we do see go lower is like the Z15 Pro. Although 2400 might be it. The X5, that RISC-V, not ASIC, but you know, from Bitmain for Monero. Everybody's still kind of waiting to see if something's going to come out for Zeph. I know there was a lot of rumors. I don't know if people made that up or what it was, but I didn't really hear anything. But it's got to be more to it though, just because all the vendors still showing that thing is sold out, right? With the exception, I think BT Miners has it like 4K. Right, I think everybody's just waiting to see what happens there, but I'm gonna keep following these prices, guys. We're gonna see what happens, but just think about it. If you've been thinking about jumping in, you've been on the fence, just remember the ETF is coming, halving is coming, election year. It's just a lot of bullish things that are kind of signaling that might be it for cheap prices, right? Things are gonna maybe go down a couple $100, but as far as the lows, they might be behind us. But again, run your numbers, don't FOMO in, think about things, think about if it makes sense, whether it makes sense to do this, GPUs, whatever it is. consider everything, right? It's a lot of risk. It's a big investment, a lot of variables, a lot of things to consider, right? So let me know, guys, in the comments what you guys are doing. Did you guys pick up anything this month? Are you guys waiting for any sales here? Are you guys waiting for any sales in general? Let me know in the comments, guys, what you guys are up to. Please comment, like, and subscribe, guys. Thank you for watching, and I am out.